Anin Bonjour. Thank you for checking out my November video for the Indigenous Education Department newsletter. My message continues to be along the same lines of last month, where I was encouraging you to step out of your comfort zone. And by stepping out of that comfort zone, how that encouragement is there to be able to bring that perspective, that Indigenous perspective, into your classroom, into the curriculum, into your schools, encouraging you to do that. So, to really make that difference. And November is the, beginning of Indigenous Peoples Awareness Month within our school board. And taking that as a whole year, actually a year of learning. And so really, check out the various things that you see coming out from our department that offers support with resources and things that you can take part in, things that you can sign up for, just ways of being able to be supported to bring that Indigenous perspective into your work, and to pass that on into to the students. And it's really, really important. Um, but I think in terms of what's going on at the time that I'm recording this message is really just, a couple days away from Remembrance Day. November the 8th is Indigenous Veterans Day. Then, of course, on the 11th is Remembrance Day across our country. And the decision has been made that the Canada flag is being raised back up, because it had been lowered at half-mast for the last number of months. I'm not sure if that was since May or June, I think, when those flags started to be lowered because of the unmarked graves that were being found across some of the residential schools, and that whole awareness about those children who died in those schools and were buried in unmarked graves. So those flags, though, are being raised back up so that they can then officially and formally be lowered out of honor and respect for the veterans on the 11th. And so, and that's important as well, in terms of, that honor, that respect, that care, and doing that in a good way. And so as that's done, and then as the flags go back up afterward, I just want to remind you, to call upon you to not forget, about the history, about the findings of those graves, about some of those things that have been coming to light in more recent days and months. And that's been a long history for those of us as Indigenous peoples who are certainly been aware of that for a really long time. I just ask that we don't forget about that. Just like with Remembrance Day, it's called Remembrance Day. Lest we forget is a saying that is attached to that, about Remembrance Day and the veterans for their sacrificing their lives, and those that came back home as veterans, as those that went off and served in those wars and conflicts. So just the same care and respect for what they took part in is the same thing that we feel as Indigenous peoples for the history that our ancestors, that our generations of peoples also lived through. Too many times in my life, I have heard comments about, why can't we just get over those things? I'm not sure why society feels that Indigenous people need to be spoken about like that, as if we're supposed to just get over those things. There's a lot of negative comments like that, just get over it. Why are they still talking about that? Just get over it. That's the past. Just like we wouldn't dare say that, about Remembrance Day, about those veterans, and there's families today of those veterans who care very much about their family member who went off and served in those wars. And so just like we would never dream of saying that, I guess that's what I'm calling upon you to remember, that that's how we feel too. Even Indigenous Veterans Day, for you teachers who are interested in looking into that, look that up and see the discrimination that Indigenous veterans faced when they came back from serving in those wars and conflicts. Just check that out as well. So I guess my message is being spoken from that good place as always, but just as a reminder that as those flags go back up, to come back down in honor of the Remembrance Day and the veterans, that's a really a good act of caring, of respect, and of offering that honor. And so uh, when they go back up, when those flags do go back up, um, I think that you know we just need to remember, you know, these things. There are always going to be things that we are asked to take part in, and I guess as part of this wonderful school board that we are all a part of, KPR, we have a commitment to Indigenous education, amongst many other wonderful aspects that make us who we are as KPR. But in my work as the First Nation Education Liaison, I'm asking you to um, just take in this message in the good place that it's intended, that still calling upon you to be a part of that action behind that reconciliation that makes uh, that reconciliation something that is actually action that's put behind the words, to support going forward in a good way. Anyway, so continue going out of that comfort zone. Reach out for any supports. When you have extra time, really go through the newsletter and just see how many links there are, how many various things that you can reach out for. We've got a good, solid Indigenous education department and team, and so I'm just really, really pleased, to be able to be a part of that. So say Chimigwach. Chimigwach.